Hi students, further let us continue the same topic. Last I think we had some idea about basic concepts of economics and then linkage between nation and economic development and economic system as a whole. And now let us just look at the another dimension of this topic from the linkage between economic development and entrepreneurship. So in this module, we are going to understand how this linkage is there, and is there any criteria for measuring the intervention of entrepreneurs and its impact on economic development. So there are some agencies like Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. So their reports also indicates that there is a link between these two, because any nation's economic development depends on how what level the entrepreneurs are involving in economic activities. So from the perspective, we are trying to understand this particular the concept from this video model. So if you just see the first of all economic development, so what is in general economic development? So it is a process in which all efforts are made to increase nation's income, national output, per capita income, per capita output, and then standard of life of people by exploiting all the available resources of the country. So because every country has its own resources, natural resources and sometimes man-made resources, how best these resources are used or exploited by the entrepreneurs to enhance the nation's income, right? Nation's output or even per capita income, per capita output. So as a whole, so the economic development, in the sense it is something related to enhancing all the incomes of different segments of the society, right? So if you just see assumptions and then some evidences that are there to reflect relationship between these two. So for that, basically, let us raise the three important questions to find out linkage between economic development and then entrepreneurship. So the first assumption is there any the causal relationship between entrepreneurial development and then economic growth? So what evidence is there to support this? And the second important question is to understand this phenomena. So, what are the determinants of this causal relationship? And does the government policy currently supports the entrepreneurial development, and then how? So, definitely the government is there to support the entrepreneurial activities, because the government believes very strongly. So, entrepreneurs' involvement is must for economic development. So, what further the steps should be taken to support the entrepreneurial development? So, once the government identified importance of entrepreneurs in the economic growth. If you see the criteria to measure, so it is something related to activities that are there in the pocket of entrepreneurs. So what entrepreneurs they do is individual level or even a group of individuals aim at initiating economic activities in the formal sector under a legal the form of business. So we can see that so they conduct various activities in the form of formal sector. So the business is within the framework of the legal system and legal framework, right? So if you see that, the criteria to measure is if you take a unit like a business, right? Any economic unit of a formal sector incorporated as a legal entity and then registered in a public registry, and which is capable under its own rights and of incurring liabilities and of engaging in the economic activities and then transactions with other entities. So in this way, you can see that the business business the firm is interacting and then involving in various other entities within the legal framework and within the guidelines given by the government policies. So in that you can see how actually the criteria it works from the new economic unit. If you just say take that as the criteria to measure the impact of entrepreneurs in the economic growth and development. So you can see that the economic unit in the two segments, like a formal sector and the informal sector. Informal sector is something the self-employed, and then the macro, the business. So where you have individual small entity, they are involving in some kind of the products and services, and the dealing with the customers and serving the customers requirements. Right. So this is one dimension. So here you will not find any kind of legal framework. So all these activities, informal sector activities, are out of legal system and legal purview. Whereas this the formal sector is functioning a business unit functioning within the legal framework. So there are again two types here in the formal sector. So the civil laws and then the common laws. Under the civil laws, you can see that the sole proprietorship and then new business. So you can see that the companies are there under the civil laws, the sole proprietorship, and then even other the companies also as a new business. So that is the one dimension. Other dimension is from the common law side is the companies, right? And then the partnership, and then the sole proprietorship. So you can see, so in both sides you can see the civil laws and the common laws, different forms of business units are there, and then they started as a new business entities in the economy, and they're involving in various activities by using the resources and then converting them as outputs and creating value for that, and then adding some kind of wealth to the existing nation's economic activities. In that way, you can say that this criteria is reflecting as a kind of measuring instrument to understand the impact of entrepreneurial activities in the economic development. So further, if you just look at the determinants, determinants that are there with the Global Entrepreneurial Monitor 2020 came out with a kind of finding that half of the differences in levels of economic growth can be explained by the variations in the level of entrepreneurship. So you can see these two are interrelated, and then without entrepreneurial activities, we can't see any kind of economic growth in the nations. So between nascent farms and then new farms. So new farms tend to have the strongest association with the economic growth. So you can see, so they are directly involving in all these activities, right? And further, if you just see that enterprise and then economic growth, it is something related to economic growth is effort and entrepreneurship is the cause. So entrepreneurial activities explores the opportunities and then convert ideas into value, the valuable business propositions, viable business propositions, and then the provides and the new products and then services to the society by bringing together and then combining various factors of productions. So they change the lifestyle of the people and enhance the quality of life. So it is something we can see from this small few lines how the entrepreneurship is related to the economic growth of the nation and then the society at large. So in this context, you can see the enterprise where you can see that entrepreneurs. So they just deal with the wealth, and they use the wealth over the inputs and convert the resources and get the output, and the output value is enhanced, right? The output value is enhanced because of the conversion process, and then output is sometimes domestically consumed, and then sometimes they are just exporting outside wherever they find the international market. So in the process, what happens? So the enterprise is creating employment and then generating revenue and income for the people directly and indirectly who are actually dealing with the enterprise. So in the process, what happens? The so-called poverty is elevated, and taxes, the taxes and the government revenue is enhanced, and then higher productivity and then innovation that happens in a small farms in enterprise level, so that they are just always coming out with the new ideas and new ventures, and then adding value to the economy at large because of the existence of the entrepreneurs. So with this, let me stop here, and then looking forward to meet you in the video 27. Thank you very much.